Hello and welcome to another episode of the Flip the Mindset podcast. It's been a while, Trips, and I apologise. We took a wee break from podcasting and now we're back bigger and better. What a way to celebrate being back online other than the fantastic Nicky McDonald. Lots of you will remember Nicky from being second on X Factor.
Yep.
Should have won it.
You're biased.
It's weird because you talk about now like the way your voice has matured and all that. You think you probably would have done it now.
Yes.
But people forget you're only 16.
True. Like a lot of people, even when earlier on we were talking, you're like, oh my God, like you've been around forever.
I know.
But you still look so young. And I was 16 and that's one of the things people always go, oh, would you ever do it again? And I go, the only thing I wish is that I could do it now because my voice is, I don't blow my own trumpet, but my voice is more mature now and I know what to do and I know how to sing. Whereas when I was 16, I only sung for about 2 years, like professionally.
Mhm.
If you would say before that,
What was I doing when I was 16?
running about in high heels or egging Wendy's or something.
What was I doing when I was 16?
Must have been in the sports centre or something.
Not a sign with Green Up Morton at 17, but
All
that's
right.
16. I must have been, honest, I don't know, like going to the youth club on a Friday night.
Probably,
Like,
aye.
and you were singing in front of millions.
Drinking Quenchy cups up at the local.
You were singing in front of about 10 million people every
Mate,
week.
it was mad. Aye, it was total. But I didn't look at it and think like when you're on that stage, you don't think when you're looking down the camera that there's 20 million people because they teach you not to do that. Because if you do that, you'd end up shitting the bed and you'd be like, I'm not doing this. Think about all the eyes that are actually just watching you and seeing your
A
face.
good old shark on the high note.
Aye, oh, sorry. Do you know what I mean?
Guys. No, I just remember the line, how old are you? You're like, I'm 16.
Aye, and Sharon Osbourne, he's only 16, like that.
Big Auntie Shaz, man.
She's
What was she
mad.
like?
She was just what you see is what you get, and she was brand new.
Did you ever meet Ozzy?
Aye, I've got a funny story actually. Long story short, I was in Sharon's dressing room like during the live shows, and basically she was just like an auntie, like a pal, like a wee granny, and she was getting all her hair done, her makeup done, and her dogs are running about the dressing room, all that. It's chaos. It's about 2 hours before the live show, and Ozzy comes walking in, he's like, oh, how you doing, man? And shakes my hand, oh, how you doing, mate? Get the big leather jacket on, big black leather hair. And 2 or 3 other guys come in with him and they'll shake my hand going, oh, you're doing great for your age and blah, 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 blah. And same again, I never really knew who they were. I just thought they were Ozzy's pals. So then I'm sitting chatting to them, having a laugh and a bit of banter and whatever, and teaching them all these Scottish words and whatever. Dogs are still running about, there's hair dryers going off, there's just hundreds, just chaos, but I'm just sitting there like, oh, what's happening? I'm sitting with the Osbournes. So then Jack comes in and the daughter Kelly comes in as well. So all the Osbournes are there. And years ago I used to watch them on NTV, and I used to also watch Jack Osbourne, Adrenaline Junkie, when he was trying to do the rehab of the drugs and all that, jumping out of planes. I was like, this is mental. I used to watch them like a year ago on Now How Man I Room with the
With them
Osbournes,
chilling.
just chilling. And then Louis Walsh comes in and he's like, Nicholas, come here. And I'm like, all right. So he takes me out and he goes, do you know who that is inside there? And I went, it's Ozzy, Sharon, Jack and Kelly and
Couple of trips.
Ozzy's pals. He's like, no, that's Black Sabbath, the band. And I go, that who? And he goes, are you kidding me? Even that's the boys from the band, Black Sabbath. And I'm like, I phoned my dad. I was like, oh, baby, I'm just sitting around with Black Sabbath and all that. He's like, did you get a picture? I went, no, I never knew who they were. He's like, oh, I forgot you were too young.
That is
But when they were
class,
kicking
though.
about. So I was, after that, I'm like, run back in the room, all right, boys, what's happening? Let's get a
They
picture.
must have
But-
loved that though, that you were just cool and collected.
Aye,
Black Sabbath. Right?
it wasn't me. They just knew that I was naive to who they were,
Aye.
and they were just listening to me talk and going, "Oh, how can you have such a strong accent?" But then when you go and sing, it just like disappears. And I go, "I don't know. I don't try and make my accent disappear. It's something cool to have like on a big English show with this accent because a lot of Scottish acts don't really do well in these shows, and when they do, the Scottish get right behind them. So I made sure trying to not to lose that." But aye, that was a crazy moment with the Osbourne. I'm like, this is mad. And also the woman that won the show, Sam Bailey, my year, she had a kid after the show, a year after the show, and she phoned me being like, oh, would you be the godfather? I said, aye, of course I would. And I went, who's the godmother? And she went, Sharon Osbourne. So me and Sharon Osbourne are godparents to Sam Bailey's daughter, Miley,
Tea parties with Sam, Shazza and the wee Ian
in Hollywood with the dogs. Do you know what I mean?
in LA chilling, man.
Aye.
Dogs running about
So,
mental.
Madness, total
That's
madness.
crazy.
Mate, it's
Like
crazy.
16 years old, we couldn't even
Aye.
We couldn't even dream that.
Mate, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
crazy.
and the boy for Wishaw,
Aye. Well,
where we are right now.
I wish you.
And you're sitting chilling with the Osbournes and Black Sabbath. Oh, it's
Mate,
just
it was mad. It
it's
was
incredible.
mad.
But yeah,
Looking back now, like, at the time, I didn't know all this, and it was obviously going on, but looking back now, and I'm older and I'm more grown up, you actually, you have sometimes you tell these stories, people go, he's talking shite. And I go, I'm not, genuinely, this did happen. And you go, that is absolutely mental. Absolutely mental.
Yeah, it's phenomenal memories to have.
Mate, it is.
You know, but it's weird because these are memories like I forget what I was doing when I was 16, so I wonder when you're my age, you'll be like, ah, can't remember hanging about with Ozzy. Who's Ozzy, man? I was out when I was 16, I was chilling with Black Sabbath. You know what I mean? I can't, you ask
Mate,
anyone what were you doing when I was 16, they'll go,
I don't remember,
don't know.
but I remember, because it was a cool
Black
experience.
Sabbath? Oh, fucking, who are they? No, but
Madness.
before we get into it, right, I want to come at this podcast. I've done some prep, obviously, as I do with
Right.
whole podcast, but then I stopped because I thought everyone who watches this podcast, they love the authenticity of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, why would I do loads of prep for stuff I don't know? I don't know what you've been doing. I know what you've been doing, but I don't know. I want to hear from you, and I want to hear
Right.
the personal side of what's been
Cool.
happening since.
Yeah.
It's been, what, 8-9 years?
Yeah,
Because everyone probably gets you on, it's just all about X Factor, probably.
yeah.
I just want to know a bit more about you. We delve deeper into it. We'll delve into mindset, mental health, what's been happening work-wise, because there's a lot I hate. People who watch the podcast will know I hate reality TV and all of that
Right.
stuff. I hate it, really. And the more I studied kind of mindset and stuff like that to do what I'm doing now, the more I kept
Started
hating
to
it more.
diff. Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
there's
sense.
no support for you guys, as you'll probably tell us. There's nothing. You're just left to your own devices, which is, you can't just thrust someone into the spotlight and then take it away
100%.
and then give them no support. It's just, a lot of what happened with the X Factor for me was basically abuse, abuse of people's mental state and mindset and of their livelihood. So, but we'll get on to that later. First of all, I want to know, what was life growing up as a Wishy boy? Wishy, I've only been to Wishy about twice. That's my
Right.
second time, I think.
Right, welcome.
There was just no reason ever to go to Wishy, I don't think.
A lot of people say the same.
Have they got a junior team, Wishaw Juniors?
Yes, you do.
they?
You
I might-
do.
I
Yeah,
might have
yeah,
been
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
playing junior football.
I
I
think
don't
they're quite good as well.
know. Are they? Are they
Yeah.
decent? We need to touch on first then. Cardiac arrest playing football.
Aye, that was that was as well. That was another crazy part of my life that
People might not know this. Like,
They
might go
don't.
like,
They don't, because what happened was, obviously when on the X Factor they found out about that and they wanted me to use it as a whole sob story. And I said I didn't want to, because I wanted to get through in my own merit, as in, he's got a good voice, he's likeable, rather than, oh, give me the whole sob story, this happened to me when I was 11 or 12 and now feel sorry for me. Now I'm going, you've already got them greeting before you're even singing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I didn't want to talk about that, and I stood by my word, and I never. But I was playing with my local team, Wishaw Wickham, playing up Meath Bride. I remember the day just like it was yesterday. We're running late. I get a sausage roll for my breakfast.
nice.
A can of brew.
Good for the old ticker.
And I can't remember the name of the part, but people that are watching will know if they played football growing up. It's one of the parts in East Kilbride, and it's got about 10 parts, and there's like a wee lake, and all the players always jump out of the lake rather than take the bridge. So we're just normal day doing that. We're warming up. We warm up. Excuse me. I get chosen to play up front, just to be a lazy guy. It just scores all the tap-ins and literally put the ball down. The ref just blew the whistle and I just passed it and just fell. And I was down on the ground, and I just remember waking up, and I was in a buggy, and the Wishaw Wickham tops are all like yellow, and I had blood all down it. And originally my parents thought I get shot for the trees. There was no noise, but they said you just fell.
Wow.
And then they didn't know what happened, and the coach came over and they're like, oh my God, he's not breathing, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, took a cardiac arrest, and when my body's went into relaxation, I've managed to swallow my tongue and block my airway, so they couldn't get that released. At that time, all the coaches weren't like medically trained for like CPR and all that. Until like a year after it happened with me and whatever. And the only person who knew CPR was one of the wifey's coach, who's at the other side of the field walking the dog with a pair of earphones in, and we're screaming on her and nothing. So later found out I've got a heart condition called long QT syndrome.
Yep.
My heart basically beats too fast, a regular heartbeat. Medication for the rest of my life, but the doctors told me like a week after it, like, You can't do PE in school. When you're riding your bike, you can't ride your bike uphill. You need to push it. No physical exercise. Anger, hurt, anxiety, sudden alarm, anything physical to do with putting your heart under any pressure. You can't do it. Can't drink Lucozades anymore. Blah 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 blah. And that really affected my life when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? Like sleepovers. Like you'd have the sleepovers. They'd all have their parties at the pits in Hamilton.
Yep.
They'd be like, "Aye, Nicholas can come," but the parents would be like, "We don't want you to stay over because we don't know if something happened in the middle of the night."
Aye.
So that
Isolation.
that affected me and talking about mindset and whatever. That really struggled because I remember having my full PE kit on, just sitting on the bench, just watching everybody doing it for the first year or so, and I was like, "This is horrible. Like I can't live my life like this." Do you know what I mean? Like everybody's enjoying themselves. And there's me had this cardiac arrest, but I never knew how serious it was at the time.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say mentally that it was. It was mentally it was hard because I did miss out on a lot of things like wee daft things like kids. I'm saying kids parties, but my pals' parties, like sleepovers and whatever, and parents were like, no, no, no. And then eventually the football team, I went back after a year, and then after a year, the football team actually lettered my parents to say, look, I can no longer play with the team, they can no longer take the responsibility in case anything else happens to me. So that really crushed my confidence, do you know what I mean? Because all I knew was football, and at that time I didn't even sing, because I didn't think singing was cool, and I didn't think it would ever be a career that I would ever go down. But no, I'm kind of glad that it happened, because it's led me to now doing what I do now. Do you know what I
Where
mean?
you are now. There's a couple of things that have happened in your life that have led you down even greater paths,
Aye,
which is the story of. I think when I was writing down some stuff last night, I was thinking there's certain big moments,
yeah,
um, leaving the record deal and stuff like that, choosing to go on cruise ships. You've now
yeah,
got a lovely, beautiful wife.
yeah,
You know, like certain things, the cardiac arrest happened, and then you go and have a great singing career.
yeah.
So, it seems to be that when something does happen, you respond
I just go
phenomenally.
with the
You've
flow
blossomed.
though. I just feel like I know it sounds so cliche, but everything in your life happens for a reason. Do you know what I mean? That reason will maybe not make sense for years to come, but there is a reason to whatever it is happening, and a lot of things in my life have made sense eventually. Do you know what I mean? And I'm
Yep.
very grateful for the opportunities and things that it's brought my way. Do you know what I mean?
Cardiac arrest, you don't remember any of it, of course,
Nah.
just waking up.
Just waking
Uh,
up, and I was trying to get up and try and go and start playing again. No, you can't move in an
you
ambulance.
just back right back up,
I
try
was
to
trying to, aye,
get
and
in
they're
the
like,
boss
no,
in the
no.
box, man, use that. Fucking you know
No,
that
I'm
thing.
a penalty or something. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't even a scary experience because I
You
obviously
know, doing it.
I never seen it coming. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of these ones you drop dead and that's it. And then you get brought back to life. Wish I seen the Golden Gates, but I never.
Not many people can say they've died. You know
Aye.
what I mean? And
And
you
people
live
don't
to tell the
believe it
tale.
because obviously a big part of my life was the X Factor and you get exposed to a lot of things and the public get to know who you are. But I stuck by my word that I wasn't going to talk about it on the show and I didn't want to bring it up and people start to feel sorry for me. All right, now he's made it through all this and now he's at the live shows and now he's
Yeah.
just all of a sudden telling us he should have told us at the start and now he's trying to win the sympathy vote. So I didn't speak about it and that's how I love doing like podcasts and thanks for having me on to talk about my story and people go, oh my God, do you know, I don't even know I never even that happened to him. Do you know
Listen,
what I
for
mean?
one, big hats off
Aye.
to you for not seeing that it
I think it was
happened
the best way,
in
the
X
best
Factor
thing.
because
Yeah.
I know you would have been pushed,
Mate.
pushed to get that
Even Louis,
story out
Louis
there.
Walsh told me in the night of the final, he went, when you finish singing this song, you're gonna talk about your heart condition. I went, Louis, I can't do that. He went, Nicholas, this will win you the show. I went, I don't care. I don't want. It wasn't about winning the show. I went on that show, just signed up for it just because, and then now I'm at the final. Like I've got further. I didn't even think I would even get an email back to say I come audition. Never mind meet. 95,000 boys auditioned and now I'm in the final singing at Wembley Stadium. I'm not
Yeah.
going to blow it. I had some sort of. I'm no book smart, but I'm street smart. I just know like how the public would have looked and been like, well, how's all of a sudden he brought that up? And they were really pushing it. And you know yourself, after every performance on a Saturday night, you'd wake up on the Sunday and you'd have media for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and that's all they ever spoke about. I never spoke about it, and they were always trying to pull something from it. But because I just went no comment, then they couldn't even make it up because they never even they knew it happened, but they didn't know how it happened. They didn't know what age, didn't know what condition I've got. There was no information on it, which I think was great for me because people just voted for me just for me rather than I feel sorry for him. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, you got there on totally being yourself,
Yeah,
and we loved you for that. I remember watching it and Sam winning, of course, but and that as well. You probably came out of that. If you'd came out of that, you probably won the show. But then you would have probably been sitting here now, like
aye. With that and your back
like
going,
did I
why did
really
I do that?
Like,
Did I get through my own merit though?
did you get through in your own merit? You know, you'd probably
Aye.
be thinking that. Did I get through? Because people will be like, right, that
The
it gripped
sympathy
the nation,
vote,
that show,
yeah,
didn't it? They would be like,
because they need to make
oh my God.
characters. They need the public to fall in
Yeah.
love with you, and they go, right, a wee guy, 16, he's got a great voice, he's from Scotland. Oh my God, he's got a heart condition. Perfect. Sign him up. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I would just refuse to talk about it. So I was like,
It's weird because one of my really good friends growing up, she went on X Factor, and this is when I started finding out about it because she told me the truth of what happened.
Right.
And she was like, you go, and there was wee cubicles or something. It might have been the SEC,
yes,
whatever it was.
yes, I done
There's
it.
wee cubicles, and she was like, you wait there, and then you go out and do a wee thing, and then you go back, and then they goes, listen, we want to put you through. We think you're amazing. She is amazing
Who is
at
it?
singing. She's called Megan Strap. We can edit it out if
Right,
she doesn't
okay.
want her name. Fine,
Right.
I'll text her tonight. Phenomenal, right?
Right.
And she went in. I think she'll be fine with telling the story.
Yeah.
So she went in, and they actually come into her and says, "Listen, we love you. You're a phenomenal singer. You could go all the way.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah." They goes, "But we don't like your story. You're just Megan. You're just Megan.
Aye.
We want to play on it." So they asked her to, I can't remember what it was, I'll get her to write in the comments. They wanted to play on something that had happened that they
In
had
a
dug
family or
on
something.
Facebook
Aye,
or
aye,
whatever.
aye.
Play on that to turn her and give her a story. They want
Yeah.
to basically, create a story.
Create a character for people
character,
to
yeah.
fall in love with.
And she's very straight to the point. She's brutally honest. She's just not that person. She was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm
I
not doing
was the
that.
same. I was like, no.
And then she didn't get through.
It's so funny you say that because people just think you turn up to X Factor and boom, you're in front of the judges. That
Yeah.
wasn't the case. I stood outside the SACC with 30,000 people in the pissing rain, holding the flags, doing all the X Factor signs and all that. And then you go in a wee cubicle that's tiny, and it's just a guy sitting, and you sing 30 seconds of a song, and it gives you a slip of paper. And if you're through, you're through to around that next day. These are just producers. These are just people that run about for the show. And then you go in front of a desk of 4 people, and it's filmed, but it's no film for anything. Same again. But these are producers and people that produce the show. They tell you if you're through, and then you do another. I think I've done 3 small editions, and then after the 3rd edition, they say, right, we'll contact within the next 8 to 6 weeks to tell you if you're through in front of the judges.
Yeah.
And then I went through in front of the judges. Do you know what I mean? So there's a whole process behind that, but I never really told my story. I never told my story then. I just said my name, my age, and that was it. And then when it came to going in front of the judges, I had a runner, a guy who worked with the show, who phoned me up and was asking me crazy questions, like just try to dig up all this
What was he
information.
asking?
But I was thinking he was doing this with everybody. I thought everybody that got through to
You're
in
16
front of the
years old.
judges, I thought that. Like asking, like, is any of my family ever been involved with the police? Do I share a bed with any of my siblings? How many bedrooms my house?
Oh
What does
my
my mum and
God.
dad work as? What does my aunties, my uncles, my
Do you
cousins,
share
and all
a
that?
bed with your
No, like
wow.
like crazy.
Straight into the poverty line.
No, they were looking for crazy questions, and they were looking for some crazy answers, and we were just a normal family. Mum and dad worked hard. Do you know what I mean? I was only 16. My brother was only 17. He's just getting into his job. Do you know what I mean? My other wee brother and sister were still at school. Do you know what I mean? So they'd nothing to dig up. Do you know what I mean? But I know that they ask you all these questions because I have a feeling that they know that you're going to go further in the show.
Yeah.
So
course.
if they think you're going to go further, they need to find out every last bit of information about you. Because if you get further on the show and it comes out that your dad used to be in jail or whatever it was, then that's going to affect you in the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is down to your talent, but I think as well, look, is there anybody that's been on the show that isn't like, look at Frankie Kikoza, it all came out that he was doing drugs and it was a bit mental.
As
And
if
then
they didn't know that at the start.
they end up getting kicked off the show. So these people that are you don't need to be squeaky clean. Do you know what I mean? But you're better to be honest with them, because then somebody somewhere will get jealousy and come out and go, oh, his mum and dad are this, or his brother's that, his sister's that. So they really dig for the information. I think knowing, right, if he does well on the show, then there's nothing for the papers or whatever to dig up and talk about.
Stuff they can come out with as well, because obviously if you're in the show and they can bring something up, they'll drop it.
Oh, no,
They'll
in a
just
heartbeat.
drop a wee bomb, you know
A
what I mean? And then
heartbeat.
it'll spruce you back up again.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
We see it with Love Island, we see it with X Factor was the start, or maybe not the start, but these shows really kicked off a lot of this horrible society,
Yeah.
grip of the pressure grip we're in now,
Yeah.
let's be honest, there was a long time where your Simon Cowell and stuff would just go on and slaughter people who
Horrible.
weren't really
Mentally, yeah.
mentally stable. And
Yeah.
he would make a living and get ridiculously famous off slaughtering these people in front of millions. That's
Yeah.
the highest form of bullying. I know people will be maybe in the comments, oh, fucking grow up and all that, or woke and all
Take
that
it with a
stuff.
pinch of salt.
I'm
but
just saying, but like, this is like people's mums, people's daughters. Someone's watching their daughter going, who's maybe not all there, and Simon's slaughtering them, making a joke about them, the editing, the way they edit the stuff, they edit it to whatever. Catch them picking their nose and all
it's
that.
a
you know what I mean?
it's a very well-oiled machine. Do you know what I mean?
Very.
They know what to do. And a prime example of that is Piers Morgan when Susan Boyle walked on that stage
Yeah.
and Piers Morgan sniggered and they all looked at each other. That was the biggest shock. Everybody judged her when she walked on, going,
Yeah.
"Come on!" And I was on Britain's Got Talent that year because I was about 12 or something, and Susan Boyle, me and her auditioned at the Armadillo, and she was there.
Wow.
And she was walking about with like a Lidl's bag or something like that, and and she was there herself. Do you know what I mean? And I never seen an audition. I seen it when it came out on telly, and I was like, wow. And everybody did judge her. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
And for her as well to deal with that in the public, and do you know what I mean? People saying there's this up there and there's that up there and blah 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? These people can just be shy. Just because they're not out there and they're outgoing or.
You can actually create a false,
Aye, of course,
paradox, you know
of
what I mean?
course.
You can actually create something that's
Of
not,
course.
she's not actually that person, she's just a
Aye.
nice lady.
And she
that-
just walked on the stage and everyone went, oh, who's this?
yeah.
Everybody, there's
And
no
then-
one person went, with her walking on, went, I know she's going to be great. Not one person.
And what I didn't know is the editing is so good.
So,
like,
mate,
so
so good.
make it your singing and that someone makes a face, Dermot or whatever makes a
It
face.
could be
That
an addition,
face could have
6
been made
editions.
6 editions ago.
Yes,
And
yes.
they're putting his face on him going, or you know what I mean?
It
Like,
just, and they know how to just instantly like change your opinion or whatever it
Madness.
is. Do you know what I mean?
which is, one, it's manipulation. Two, the bullying went on that was horrendous. The bullying was terrible. Now, there's bullying in front of millions. How they've not been pulled up with it, I don't know. How they've not had civil suits and all. So they probably have, but they're just on a well oiled machine that you can't.
Just pay them off.
You can't. yeah.
Re-envelope.
You can't.
Keep them quiet.
Do you know what I
aye.
mean? Because that show was brutal for many, many people, and it did ruin many people's lives. I mean, these people were never viewed the same ever again. Some people who went on, and then
Yeah.
Susan Boyle done amazing. We're
Yeah.
all proud of Susan, and I'm so glad she done so well.
And she's just stuck to being herself, and that's
Yeah.
why people still love her.
Straight back to chilling out with a cup of tea.
Aye, with her
Just
cats, do you know what I mean?
aye,
Like craziness,
chilling,
isn't it?
Not a care in the world. Phenomenal. You know, but it's that bit in the mindset is important to touch on, that how rigged these shows are. We know I talk about it a lot. These producers and cameramen is incredible, but they're still a large part of the nation. Until I had some of the Love Island troops on who talked about how scripted that was, when like Wallace Wilson would say something and he would go, no, take that out. You need to sound more aggressive. You need to sound more emotional. Like, that's not good enough. Like, and he was like, listen, I'm just a nice guy. I'm just a normal guy. We don't want normal. Do you know what I mean? And they would literally speak on the system.
That's
If
what I'm
he said
saying. You
something
need to
that-
make characters.
Yeah.
You need to make
they would
characters.
speak on the system saying, Wallace, could you put a wee bit more oomph into that and go again? What?
I'm having an argument with somebody.
Like, I'm sitting in the villa chilling.
You're an arsehole. No, call me.
That's it. And this is how I know, like, your fakers, like your Molly Mays and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
who went on and done all the drama, like you're this and that, and said the horriblest things, you know, because
Yeah.
the edits would pick them up, and the villain in Britain is
Makes
loved,
makes
you
him
know,
popular.
and then
Makes
makes
him
them
popular.
popular, and then people will start falling in love as the
Yeah.
show went on. That's who have always done well out of these shows.
Yeah.
You know, people who have been a bit of a villain and then came through. So
See, I think Love Island's no very different for X Factor, because when I was sitting down doing my interviews, they would not tell you how to say it, but kind of put words into your mouth. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I just thought, they can't understand my accent. I need to slow down a wee bit. But I have heard with the Love Island, like they've spoke over the thing and been like, "Oh no, you just need to talk about this or talk about that." Whereas X Factor wasn't it? I would say it wasn't really scripted. Nobody told me. They obviously told me, right, you need to be here and you need to sing and this is what you're singing. But it wasn't like, you need to say this.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
it was more just edited that way, wasn't it, and then cloven.
Aye, because
like
I was
that.
because I was a wee guy. I don't know if they thought, right, we could manipulate him into saying certain. Because me just being myself, I think they were just happy with that. Do you know what I mean? It was just maybe, right, maybe just say it like this, Nicholas, do you know what I mean? To try and get your point across or whatever, or say it this way rather than like being at full scripted where they're sitting down and they're going like, right, they're going to argue with him about this and whatever. Whereas I think Love Island and X Factor is probably a wee bit completely different because that is more reality, 24 hours, whereas ours is more just singing talent,
Yeah. Take
show
what
your
you have
talent.
and then script it.
Aye, kind of like
For
that.
sure.
But they still need to script like
The editing,
character,
sorry. Yeah.
editing and like character. No, I keep saying characters, but us as the normal public, they need to make you relatable for people to phone in and vote, for them to make money for their voting, for them to pull in the views. What's going to pull them in the views? Do you know what I mean? Is it going to be look at Love Island? All that pulls in the views. It's the biggest show in the summer. It's drama and people falling in love, and they've got all these hot people on a beach in Spain. Do you know what I mean? Whereas with X Factor, it's more talent and telling your story as a person, right? They've got a great story, they've got a great talent. How can we keep pulling in the views, kind of
Yeah,
thing? Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But the editing's crazy.
Lines, aye, yeah, definitely. No, I see I definitely see the difference. And it's going a weird way because where do we go from now? I think there's sanctions being put on like Love Island and stuff like that. So
Well,
they
there has
can,
to
they
be.
can
There has
stop
to be.
doing wee bits and bobs because it's changing the minds of our young. Do you know what
Well,
I mean? And even us.
the deaths that's came for that show is just, and it's all
Madness.
down to bullying, mental health, like. And I like the show. Do you know what I mean? I do watch it, but it's like who gets held responsible for
Yeah,
like the Caroline Flax,
yeah.
and I think it was the girl Sophie as well. I can't remember her last
And
name.
Mike.
Mike, do you know what I mean? Like all these people that were on this show that done Normal Life, and then they've dealt with all this coming off the show. Do you know what I mean? And it seems like they've not really had support. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Coming off a show like that, and
Muggy Mike, they used to call him. We basically killed him off. Do you know what I mean? It
yeah,
was the public.
yeah.
We have a coded responsibility
But Love
too.
Island created that
Created
character.
the character,
Do you
of
know what I mean?
course,
And
of
if
course.
they just, and he probably just went along with it and been
Yeah.
like, right, okay, I'll make a fortune off this Muggy Mike, blah 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 blah. This is a character that I'm. But then when he's come off this show, he's been blown into a whirlwind of craziness, and he's not actually sat and went, this isn't actually me. I'm not this Muggy Mike guy. Like they're taking a mug of me. I'm not taking. They're making it that I'm taking a mug of them.
Imagine you went on yourself, right? You could go on and be the nicest guy in Love Island.
But they can make you
Their
look whatever
edits
you
could
want.
make you look fucking terrible. Do you know what I mean? That is the
Even
scary
like
part.
that Dr. Alex, like I remember when he went on it, and I was like, he's too good to be true. And one minute it was nice, and then remember one time he flipped. That wasn't on Twitter. Oh, he's flipped. He's a crackpot. He's this and he's that. And I'm like, just take some couple of
One of
seconds.
the
Just
nicest guy on the planet, so he is, man.
aye,
Follow
aye.
his journey a lot. So what's life in the like now? What's a day in the life like now for Nicky compared to 2013, Nicky? What goes on now? What's been happening? What you been up to? I know you went to cruise ships.
Yep.
Met your lovely
My wife
now.
yep, married.
When you came in, he was like, "Hi, I gave the wife the car to drive away." And I was like, "Oh, fucking hell, man, wife!" Because you think you're so old because you've just been like Cristiano Ronaldo. You were about when fucking he was playing for Man U. You know what I mean? And obviously now you're like that. A wife not. You're only 26. I'm 31, man.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Aye, like obviously since the show came off it, and when you win the show, the way I thought is that you get £1 million, like a £1 million deal, so you get $1 million in your bank. But then I later found out you don't. I was like, no, it doesn't work like that. So basically, the record deal take you on and invest $1 million into you. So Sam got that deal. I've never got $1 million. I can't remember what I got, but I've ended up signing with RCA Records. The album came out. Same again. It was a covers album. What I didn't want to do. Young and naive. If it was me now, it'd be a whole original album. But I was young and naive, and I was given managers, I was given agents, I was given lawyers. I didn't know nothing about the industry. None of my family's really done nothing with the industry whatsoever. I never knew anything about it. Done the covers album, it actually done really well, went to number 6 in the charts, and then the single was an original, and that was in the top 20 for a couple of weeks. Done that, and then the record label wanted to do more stuff after it, but they were like trying to shelve stuff and you need to write about this, you need to do about that, you need to write with this person, and I just felt like the freedom of me trying to be an artist just wasn't going to work while I was under their umbrella, do you know what I mean? So I just ended up just finishing the contract with them, and they
were... this RCA?
Aye. And
they had a lot of bad press about RCA.
When I was with them, wasn't bad press, it was more like, oh my god, he's came runner up and he's got a deal, so basically he's won it as well, do you know what I mean? But I just wasn't going to work with what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? And they wanted to shelf a lot of things and just pigeonhole you, which I thought, well, the next X Factor's going to come along and then I'm going to be forgot about. And then, do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And a lot of things I really try to take away from the show was I was 16, 17. I just wish I was older and much more mature with decisions and managers and agents and whatever, because I've made a lot of mistakes. Do you know what I mean? But if you, the way I looked at it, you live and you learn. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way of life. But
Would you do it again? Like if someone gave you that
oh,
opportunity again,
I
would you
think
go
I
back
would.
on?
If I knew I would come runner up, aye.
Would you be able to put the know you're doing it, knowing that you're
A
kind
hundred
of being
percent.
used and stuff like that? It's
Hundred
like
per because I just know, like, now when I talk to somebody I can smell shite straight away. Do you know what I mean? If
yeah.
they're a shit talker.
But then you
But
might not. You probably wouldn't get through if you're giving them back. Going no, wait a minute.
no, I know that, but they were pulling the wool over my eyes. Like, these agents and managers
Yeah.
get like offering you the world. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
When they weren't. Do you know what I mean? I paid a manager. I'm not going to mention her name, but I was going on the X Factor tour and I gave them an advance of like 35 grand or something like that for nothing, and I've never even met her before. Like, stupid shit like that. Like,
What would she do? Just book you? Don't tell me she would just book you in places.
no, no. I needed a management, right? And she's like, right, I'll manage him, whatever. And then I said, right, okay. So she needed an advance off from when I from because she knew she's my manager.
Yeah.
She needs to take a percentage of
Yeah.
what I was making on the tour. So I gave her like something like 35 grand, and I've
Jeez.
never even met the woman before. And then I met her once, came to Manchester, or something, met her for half an hour, and then that was it. And then she was passing down like all these huge gigs and whatever, wanting too much money and whatever, and I like,
Well, it's saying no to gigs you would have loved to do.
I, and by the way, adverts for like huge brands. Do you know what I mean?
What?
Like TV stuff and all that, and I like so many missed opportunities.
And that's what would have got you
100%,
keeping
100%.
on
But
climbing.
obviously, you don't know that you're getting offered these things because you just put your trust into these people to be like, they're going to look after you and
Yeah.
get you the best of the best, and they'll know what to do with you and they know what you want to do. Whereas after that, I looked at the emails and went, Jesus,
Is there not a liability like
nah.
a duty of care to tell you, listen, you've been offered this, are you accepting it?
I don't know. I
If
don't
she
think
should
so.
done that behind my back, it'd be like a bird going and cheating on you and be going, what do you mean? Like,
I
I
don't know.
didn't tell you, it's alright.
Madness. It was just crazy. And then what I noticed for then is I tried another few managers, and then I just started doing things on my own. Do you know what I mean? Doing my own tours, doing my own music, dealing with everything myself. Do you know what I mean? Um, and that seems to be the way forward until now that I've just recently signed my new management in the last year. But even with my own tour and all that, do you know what I mean? I put my own tour on 2007, 2018, and I paid all that all out of my own pocket. And now for an individual artist to do that, people go, it's absolutely madness. Because I had a whole band with me, I had a tour manager, I had to book all the venues, all the equipment, all the ferries, all the flights, all the transport. A lot of money. Even when I was 17, 18, still naive. I would only say in the last 5 years, I've really actually started to realise what this industry is actually about. And it's been a real eye opener. And now I've been offered record deals. You know what I mean? Same again, long contracts for 10 years and all that. And I've
No
said no,
chance.
and I'm just doing it myself now. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to get in sessions, whatever, get music out for this year. Do you know what I mean? And my management are like, if you get music out this year, which I'm going to do, then we can obviously look at touring and doing gigs and whatever more next year. With tour wise, you know what I mean? I do a lot of corporate stuff and weddings and all. Like, singing's now my full-time job now, but they're wanting to look to doing tours and getting out to like back over to Ireland and all that, because I've got a big fan base over there, and obviously down south, and then obviously in Scotland. You know what I mean?
What's that stuff you want to do as well?
100%, yeah.
It can be unique to you, you can find
And the
your
first
niche.
conversation I had with them is like, they asked me, what do you want to do?
So it's Blueprint, isn't it?
Yes, Blueprint. They're amazing, George and the guys, and Rob and whatever, Nash. But they asked me what I wanted, what they expected from me. Whereas these other people that I met before told me, oh, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, blah 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 blah. Turn things down. Like, even agents as well. Like, we're taking just doing gigs and saying, all right, Nick, you're getting paid this much, and actually they were telling the venue that I was this much, and they were taking 20% on top of my fee plus putting 1,500 quid in their own pocket.
That's serious.
and walking away with more money than me. Do you know what I mean? And when you're first off the show, you're getting crazy money, and they take advantage of it. 17, 16, they're like,
That's serious fuckery.
so it is. So it's hard, and a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I'm going to let my daughter or somebody do the show or whatever," and I just say to them, "Look, do it. It's changed my life, but I put it down to luck as well. Do you know what I mean? And talent a wee bit, but there's a lot of snakes out there, a lot.
Yeah.
But that's in any industry. But that
Yep.
I was just young and naive, and it was just a bit hard.
And it should be made known. It should have been made known a wee bit more, especially off Simon and stuff. He's
Simon wasn't a judge when I was on it because I think his wife was pregnant.
Yeah, but it's Simon's show basically.
Aye,
Isn't it?
it's Simon's show.
It falls on Simon's head. That's
Yeah.
as simple as that. Many people who are asked this question won't even mention Simon. They won't even say it as if they're scared to mention his name. But it falls on his head. It's his machine. It's his well-oiled machine. He doesn't give a shit. Surely the duty of care is there, like Simon. If I'm Simon, maybe it's just the person I'm going, make sure there's people there to get looked after. So, like a footballer.
But there's so many of them, do you know what I mean? It's
I know, but you've got to, if you're going to make
who's
money
relevant
off it,
at the time.
if you're going to make the money off it, you have to put a duty of care in, especially for your winners,
Yeah.
your top five.
Yeah.
Like, this is mindset and mental health. A lot of people have fell off the rails and fell totally away from it after X Factor and had damaged lives
Yeah.
from X Factor. You know what I mean? There's no
no
if we stick
support.
up for it, it'll keep going. You know, like
Yeah.
there was no support, definitely for you, no
Yeah.
support. A footballer, that what something I'm trying to do now is and some other people are trying to do, which is really good, is give support for footballers. So I was injured with my football career. I was
Right.
playing at the time you were singing, and then when I injured, there's no support. You don't even get a text. Once you're injured in football and you're on that sideline, you're lucky if the manager or anyone will text you until you're ready to play again.
Madness.
There's nothing. You know, players will be watching this going, yes, the exact same. You're forgotten about. The paper moves on.
Yeah.
Next week the paper's going, oh, what about this guy?
Aye, you're old news.
Oh, he's just signed for him, and you're just sitting there like a heap of shit, really damaged. So
Yeah.
think of the amount of people damaged. You know, that can't
There's a long line.
I don't think that can be forgiven, and it's got to be, maybe it's not, I don't want to blame anyone and all that shit, but it's got to be educated. There's got to be awareness about
careness
it. And
after that.
Yeah, there's got to be a careness of you having that 16 years old.
Aye.
That's almost abuse. Do you know
I'm
what I
going
mean?
to tell you
People
a
just-
story that'll actually shock you. So we done the final at Wembley on that night, and we were staying at the Hilton across the road with security outside the room and all that. Like 24 hours, it was madness. And my family were staying at a Holiday Inn down the road, and I went and seen them after it, and I've just came runner up. Like, this is crazy. It's changed my life forever. I felt like, and I spoke to one of the guys, like a runner guy. I keep saying a runner guy. A runner guy is like somebody who's just like your right hand man. If you need anything or like, do you know what I mean? He'll help you, whatever. And I says to him, I says, what about my flights home the night? I said, my family are flying out on like Tuesday or something. This was on the Sunday. And they went, oh no, they've not booked you anything. I went, so what do I need to do? They went, you need to book your own flights home. I'm like, what? They went, you need to book your own flights home. See the full 14 weeks that I was in the live shows down in London. My family didn't get £1 off X Factor to travel their expenses. Didn't even get handed vouchers to buy food or nothing. Like, my family ended up in debt, like a lot of debt, because my mum, my dad, my brother, my older brother, my younger sister wanted to travel down every week to support me. So you think 5 flights and 2 hotel rooms every week down in London for Friday to Monday. A lot of money, do you know what I mean? And my mum and dad worked hard, do you know what I mean? My older brother didn't really have a job, and my wee sister, my wee brother were still at school. I'm not sitting here slating X Factor, because it has changed my life. But things like that, when I was on the live show, like, my family got into debt because they were coming down to support me. And people always say to me, oh, I want to do the show, and I want to send my daughter to do it. And I tell them, like, this story, like, look, if you want to travel down, you need to travel on your own merit. Like, unfortunately, if you live up in Scotland and the show's obviously down in England, then you need to pay that on your own. And my family never knew that. Even to this day, even if they did know that before the show, they would still put themselves into debt, and they'd do it 10 times over, and that's just the way they are. But at the time, if you've not got the money to do it, then, do you know what I mean? Your family's not going to be there every week. And I was very thankful that my grandparents and everybody got to see me, neighbours and cousins and pals and whatever. And do you know what I mean? But there was no support with that. And then obviously with the flight thing, I wasn't like, oh, I've just came second in the X Factor now. I need somebody to book my flights. Wasn't that? I just assumed like they knew my family was coming down. Like who's going to help me get up the road?
Yeah.
And they're like, Ned, you need to book it yourself.
See, that to me sums up, and it's important to say we're not slagging X Factor and any
No.
of that. We're just stating the truths.
No, I'm
Stating
just
the
telling,
truth,
and this is
yeah.
something that I've spoken about before.
like-
It's not something like I'm out here blasting them, because X Factors gave me a platform and set me up for the
course
rest of
it
my
has.
life. Do you know what I mean? And I'm very thankful for that, and I say it all the time. But this is just the proof is in the pudding. I'm only telling you the truth. I'm
Yeah.
not lying and trying to blast them, and do you know what I mean?
That's
Put them
what
out
we
in
do.
blast.
That's what we do on here, is tell the truth, and authenticity has to stay that way. It has to be the truth, because if we don't, we don't kill
don't
any
know.
stigmas.
No, you don't.
We don't break any stigmas. We don't make it more
And
comfortable
people just
for people
assume.
to
Do
step
you know what I
out.
mean? Once
Yeah.
you tell them the truth, they're like,
16-year-old.
wow.
What if you had? I mean, I don't know. My mum had 3 kids, single mum. Could she have just paid a flight like that in a whip? Nah, I would have had to stay maybe another week, another 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Lucky that I had a nan and papa who would have probably paid it. But what if you're not? What if you're,
Aye.
you know, wee Joe, and you've not got
Then you're watching your son, and what
your
would you?
16-year-old in that hotel?
Aye, do you know what I mean? Like, would you rather watch your son for the telly, or actually for your living room, or actually be there and support him? Because they knew like how much it just went for just me being Nicky to then me being Nicky McDonald. Everybody at the time that everybody wants a piece of you, do you know what I mean? And how crazy it blown up, do you know what I mean? Just people end up turning up at my door, and my mum and dad were only seeing a small percent of it. People phoning them, texting them, come at the door, drop them off gifts, and we love Nicky, and like just total Nicky madness for that whole year. Basically, that was on the show, but they seen how crazy it was just up here. They didn't even see the half of it that was going down there. Do you know what I mean? And with interviews and just like paparazzis and just mad stuff that I'm like, I'm not even used to this. This is just chaos. Do you know what I mean? Like an empty tracksuit getting pulled for pillar to post.
Yeah.
But there's no support. The question you asked, the support after the show, there was none. I was left to pay my own flight home.
What about when you were home? Was anyone checking up on you or checking how you were doing? Or
Well, they were, like, obviously with the auditions and whatever, they're all pre-recorded, so you go down to London and you sing at Wembley Stadium Arena, sorry, and then when you do the arena auditions, they're back in Wembley, and then when you do the judges' houses, we went to Saint-Tropez in France, but then when you're in the live shows, we ended up staying in London for 14 weeks, because they're live, do you know what I mean? We put us all up in a big house and whatever. They looked after you and took care of you at the end, do you know what I mean? Fed water, you're getting picked up here, there, and everywhere. But it was still mental. Like after the show, it's like, what if even now, like mental health is so big that I just hope and would like to think that there's something that's put in place after these shows for people to deal with just being out in the public after being in a big bubble. Like, especially for me, for the live shows for 14 weeks, it just went madness, and you're in a bubble, and then as soon as you're out of it, it's like, I just imagine just like a newborn, you're like, oh my god, this is crazy.
yeah, you've been what I've stopped that.
You're
must
Joe
have been a big-
Blogs to then everybody wants to speak
and
to you,
then
whatever.
coming back down slowly
Yes,
after the time,
because there's new X Factors
there's
and new
X
singers
Factors, you
and Love
become
Island
less
and all.
relevant.
Yes, of
How
course.
did you deal with that? This is a big thing that people do not deal with off these reality TV shows.
Yeah.
They come off it and they'll just crash.
I know.
And also, Sam Callahan was on it.
Luke Friend.
Luke Friend was
Aye,
on it. He's
I love
playing
him.
now in a band. He's totally changed. So he has he was from what they probably dress you up and all that though on X Factor.
I
don't they?
like see
Choose
like
all
the
your
clothes and all that
that.
was with mate. If the only thing I got to pick was my underwear that morning.
No way.
Either than that,
ridiculous.
they had my socks, everything, hair, makeup, mate, everything, absolutely everything.
Wow.
At one point, and they put on like a, they made me wear like a, what's that thing to like make you look slimmer, like a really tight.
Corset thing.
Aye, no, but it's like a
suit thing.
aye, it's like a t-shirt, like a really tight Under Armour.
I thought
And,
you lost a bit of weight.
Mate,
during
they're
that
like,
show.
you need to lose
Trimmed
weight.
with
I'm
the
like,
suit.
what? I'm fucking 16, man. What do you expect
You
me
can't tell a 16-year-old
to lose weight?
man.
You can't.
Help.
I'm like, have they fucking seen me now look like me fucking noddy?
Mate, you can't just fucking rattling that shit about.
Mate, they were.
Here's your socks, you wee bastard. Get in the gym.
Yeah, you're eating your
Fucking
5 a day
hell,
for the next 14 weeks, you wee fat cunt.
Fucking hell.
But aye, they used to put it over me, aye, and I'm like, what do they need this for? It just makes everybody look slimmer. I'm like, what? I'm like, you're basically trying to tell me I'm fat, tell me I'm fat, but I know that. Mate, madness. It was
And
mad.
I think there is duty of care now, and that's the thing you just want now because all our sons and daughters and all that. You know, I've got a son. You're going to have kids soon.
No,
As we
I've got
talked
a
about
dog.
before.
I've got a dog. That's
The
enough.
dog's enough for now. Tell that to the missus in a couple of years. Anyway, when you do have your kids, or if you have kids, if not, you want protection for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want if my son was a good singer, turns out to be a good singer, I would want a duty of care for them. It's thing with well, I think it's a lot see because of the deaths and reality TV and stuff we've had.
But it shouldn't. That shouldn't happen for then something to then
Yeah,
be
of
put in
course.
place. Shouldn't be put in place
Seems to
beforehand.
be the way of the world, though, doesn't it?
Aye.
Something has to happen before
Oh
we put it
shit!
in
Right,
place.
okay, we better do something about it
Oh,
now.
fuck, he died, man. Fuck.
Ah.
What did he fall off the? Oh, so there wasn't a barrier 16 floors up. No,
No.
we better put barriers on all the fucking.
It's put sponge on everywhere just to protect them.
I think there was a time actually. See when I think about it, I think there was a time you'd go on holiday to Benidorm and there wasn't barriers on your
Balcony, you just walked out there.
balcony.
Right in at the pool head first.
Just walked out like that. And then he
Maybe
thought,
we
"Oh,
should start putting barriers on all these
Aye.
balconies.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No, fuck, that's serious. That's some serious shit. Maybe we should put a barrier that's not 2 foot. I bet you they were only small at first. They were
Aye, you just step
tiny
out
wee
the top of
barriers,
him.
fucking trip over, steaming. So, full-time job now, singing.
Yeah.
You know, what does that entail? Is this live gigging? Is this gigging 2 times a week, 3 times a week? What gets you by? What's a day in the life now? What happens?
A day in the life now is probably just during the week's probably a bit quieter, probably more meetings, Zoom calls, writing sessions, studio sessions, organizing my diary, dealing with a lot of bookings I deal with myself. Only recently because when I just signed to my management, I told them that I've got coming this year, like I'm going to keep to myself. You know what I mean? You're not getting a piece of the pie if I'm the one doing all the work. Invoices and all that stuff, some podcasts, you know what I mean? Interviews and whatever, just talking to people. And then gigging 3 times a week, probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or if not Saturday, Sunday. These are live corporate gigs or whatever, or a wedding, or if a venue contacts me and says, "Oh, we want to sell tickets at our venue, and you want to come down and do it." Do you know what I mean? Like, do go to places where people would be like, "What's he doing here?" Do you know what I mean? What like, I remember watching him in telly. How's he now just singing at my local venue or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Giving people an experience and speaking to them and whatever, and people go, "You're so normal." I go, "Well, aye, I'm not any different." Do you know what I mean? From but you're on the telly and you were listening to that. I'll go, "Well, it doesn't matter. I'm just a normal person. I just sing." A lot of people now do say you're such a better singer now and you're so much better live than you were obviously when you were 16, but that goes back to your question earlier, like more mature now. I just know what to sing, I know how to sing, but when I first started I didn't have a clue.
Yeah, what did you say? 2 years you had before the show?
I 2 years and I was just gigging in like pubs and clubs for like 150 quid for like 4 hours.
At 14, 15.
Like
Then first night
14.
onto the show.
No, and my dad was like my roadie. Like it got to some of the venues where I had to leave before 10 o'clock at night because I wasn't even old enough to be there. Do you know what I mean? But I remember I saved up money, bought myself a motorbike and all that, and kind of was making good money while I was still at school.
You're right into your rallying. That's how you know my good friend Robert Mooney. Shout out to Robert.
Aye.
So right into your motorbikes and all that kind of stuff.
Motorbikes, cars.
When did that start?
From I don't know. I think I had my first PW50 when I was about 4 or something.
Wow.
Me and my brother, and now I've got a road legal quad that my wife's not really happy about, but I'm happy about it. And the weather's coming, so I've loved it all my life. I don't know, and that was my getaway. See, like when I come off the show and things were just crazy and busy, and then when things started to slow down, I found myself buying. At one point, I had 5 off-road motorbikes, and there was only one of me, and I was just going out during the weekend. I loved it. It's my escape. And even now, when I've got a busy weekend, if I'm travelling for gigs down south, or I've just got a busy weekend and there's a lot going on, because before you know it, it's like it could be quiet during the week, and then boom, your weekend's done. Like you don't really have a social life. My social life's mostly during the week, do you know what I mean? Because when the weekends I'm working, and when I can go to my quad or whatever, it's just my freedom. I just love it, and I feel like that's my getaway, and that's what keeps me a wee bit insane, not normal. Like just for I don't know, just like the freedom of just being on the road or on a field and just covered head to toe in muck and just
Regulates your mindset.
Aye, and it's so funny because that's the same when it was peak show. I remember like there used to be a track in Tinto, and I knew the owners, and they were only open during the week. It was like 2014 or 15, and they used to open the track during the week for me just to go, just myself and like two pals, and I loved it. It was great, and even now, that's why I've still got something in an engine that I can just get away and go myself, and nobody else can bother me.
I was actually thinking about
I love it, mate. It's
this
so
summer.
it's so much. I just love it. It's just even
a
if
quad
I'm
or a bike, a trail bike maybe.
even if I don't know, if I fell out with my pal or something, or me and the wife are not getting on or whatever, and I've not done the dishes and I've left them for 3 days, I'm like, I'm going my quad, I'm out of here. And it's just that I think that just gives me that peace of mind that I'm just like,
Yep.
and every time I come back, I just feel, I don't know. I think that's my getaway.
Good. So married at you got married. You proposed at Trump Tunbury.
Yeah.
I can't get this out of my head. Proposed at Trump Tunbury.
Yeah.
Married in Hamilton.
Right, so what happened was
No, it's actually much fancier than that. It's because I can't pronounce the name of the place.
Châtellerault.
Châtellerault, that's it.
How can you not pronounce that?
I'm not no, I just looked
Is
at
it the
it.
Nashers?
I looked at it and it sounded posh, and I was like, right,
Châtellerault?
okay. I know all I seen
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
It can't be budged.
Fucking
So,
Hamilton, man.
So back in 2019, I think it was. It couldn't have been 2019 because I've been with my wife 4 years. So what year would that be?
But you've been married 4 years.
No, married 2, but we've been together 4.
Where is my wife went?
So what year would it be 4 year ago? What year is it now? 22.
18.
Aye, so 2018 we met. I was on. What happened was I was getting really, really busy with gigs and whatever, and went through a relationship, and became single and just wasn't happy. Wasn't happy at all. I just felt like I was working all the time, and just wanted to get away. And weirdly, a girl messaged me for Falkirk who knows a guitarist, David Johnson, that plays with me, and her name was Anna, and she's like, look, do you fancy going on a contract with a cruise in America? And I was like, it's not really for me. And I asked her how much we're getting paid, and I was losing a lot of money, and I had deposits with gigs and all that, and whatever. And my mum went, look, just go and do it. And it was for 8 months. I was like, right, okay, I'll try it. So I paid all the deposits back for gigs and whatever, cancelled gigs and whatever. And had 2 weeks' notice and went on the cruise. Did a month in Miami with rehearsals. Had to learn 200 songs. Got all these medicals done. Blah blah blah. Long story short, was on there for 8 months. After being on there for about 5 or 6 months, my wife Brandy lives only 45 minutes from the port. So we were in Tampa, and she lives in Clearwater in Florida. And she was on a girls' holiday, and I think there was 4 or 5 of them. And the last night of the cruise, it was a 4-day basically booze cruise to Mexico and back and whatever. She's steaming, right, and she's dancing in front of the band, and we're finished, and I'm going to the bar, and her and her pal stop me and like, oh, where are you going? Where's the party? And I go, oh, I'm going to the bar. I couldn't be bothered with them because I've just sung for 4 hours. Went, you can go to the nightclub. Ended it up, me and her just ended up speaking, and before you know it, was like 3 in. Me and her just sitting talking.
At the bar?
Not even at the bar, no.
Did she leave her pals the whole night for you?
No, our pals just end up going, like, I don't even understand what this guy's saying, like, I'm going to go to the nightclub. And me and her just sat, like, outside and just spoke for hours and hours and hours. She told me where she worked. Like, and weirdly, we spoke about family. Do you know what I mean? When we first met, it wasn't like, oh, what do you like? What's your favourite colour? Like, it was just like family and whatever. And we really, really clicked within like an hour or whatever. So then I ended up finding her Instagram through her work because she works in a place like Hooters where they wear like the tight shorts and whatever.
Mode, right? You're sitting in the cabin.
I want a big perv like that. What's her name? And I'm dyslexic, so I'm trying to spell Brandy like that. Fucking spelled it 10 different ways. And I couldn't find it, and I was like, I need to find who this lass is. So eventually I found it, and she came off the cruise the next day, and she actually messaged me. So she messaged me before I managed to find it, and she went, I messaged her in fact saying, I hope you enjoyed the cruise. Let me know if you come back on again. And she's like, well, if you're ever around Tampa again, let me know and I'll show you around. And I was like, perfect. I'm here like every 4 or 5 days. So I told her like, I'm back here in 4 days. She came pick me up. We went on a date. And we're pulling up, and you could tell she was nervous, and she was pulling out the port, and she was doing about 50 miles an hour, man. She's never seen a speed bump. Heard it, and the fucking motor came up hot like that. Oh my god! But it just broke the ice there. And
a wild one.
We were like laughing and all that. So we went for something to eat, and we just clicked. Same again. Spoke about family and just life and whatever. And then we started dating like on and off the ship. She would come pick me up every 4 days. Like I started to meet her family and whatever. And then after about 3 months, she came back on the cruise with her mum, and I met her mum and her aunties. and I fell in love with that cruise. Like I literally fell. I knew I liked her and whatever, but I didn't think. Come on, 4,500 miles away. She lives in Florida. I live in Wishy. Come on, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's a bit
And
different places too,
I
isn't it?
says to her
Florida
when
and
she
Wishy.
after 3 months, like dating and she came back on the cruise. I says to her, "Do you ever fancy coming to Scotland?" She went, "I'd love to." I says, "Well, my contract ends in like 2 months or a month and a half. Let's do it." So kept doing the back and forth between the cruise. And by the way, she'd finish her work at, because she always worked late, 12 o'clock at night, and come pick me up at the ship with port at 7 in the morning, and then after that she'd go to her work after it. So I knew she was a grafter. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
She never knew anything about X Factor. Had no clue. She just thought I just sung on the cruise,
Wow.
and that was it. And then it was after about 3 months. She obviously seen that was verified on Instagram,
Mhm.
but she never went all the way back to
Yeah.
6, 7 years ago with all the X Factor, and it was about 4 months after dating, and she's like, agreed to come to Scotland, and she's like, would were you on the X Factor? And I was like, aye. And she's like, why did you not ever tell me? I was like, I don't know, because I've been so used to people that I've dated before knowing that it's for the X Factor, so it was interesting to see what you thought. And she was like, I never knew anything about it. I just thought you just sung the cruise and that's how you had followers and that's how you were verified, like the cruise verified you or something. And I was like, no. So it was quite refreshing that she fancied me for me and no, oh, that's a wee guy for the telly or whatever.
You seem so humble as well.
Uh,
Good,
w-
like you
w-
seem just so humble, just so.
well, of course I'm, because if I was anything different, my brother's but who do you think, you wee dick and smash me, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
because many
I
people do forget who they are.
Oh
You
no,
know.
I couldn't.
No.
I just couldn't. And when I do a lot of gigs, people go, "You're so normal." I go, "I'm no any different. Not, I'm no different
Just human.
from anybody else." So, mate, we did long distance then for 2 years, back and forth to Scotland, and the money they both of us spent, we could have had a house bought
Is
outright and
that
paid.
tough?
It was very tough, very very tough, because she was finishing her work at 12 at night, and there was like a 7 to 6 hour time difference. So I was waiting till she got in for work. It was about 6, 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was going to my bed when she was going to her bed, so I had to make sure she was in all right. And I'd done that every night for like
Wow.
a whole year. Um, and it was really hard. I remember leaving her at the airport, like being, it's like, imagine getting split up with, like she would come for like 2, 3 months and then she'd leave and then I wouldn't see her for another 2 months. I would fly over there and every time saying bye at the airport was the hardest thing. That I would do X Factor 100 times again, but see doing that, like that's why we get married, because we're like, we've done long distance for 2 years, we've spent all this money,
Yeah.
like what you'd think it'd get easier, like it was getting so much harder saying bye, like because you're with that person you love, but the time difference and the traveling and just everything was just so hard. So I proposed, but we knew we were planning to get married anyway. We knew we were going to get married, but the way it looked to my social media is like we were engaged for 4 days and then we were married, which technically did is what happened.
Mm.
But the ring and all that she wanted, and whatever, she picked one out that she really wanted, and she's like, "You going to get it?" I was like, "I don't know. We'll find out and see." So I ended up proposing at Tunbury, and then we already obviously you couldn't plan a wedding in 4 days, and then like 4 days later we were married.
So you just got a taxi back to Hamilton.
Basically, that's an expensive taxi if you Tunbury to fucking Hamilton. But so we ended up getting married, and now we've been married for 2 years. Aye, and it's the best thing we've ever done. Do you know what I mean? And even now, after doing the long distance, now going through COVID with each other, do you know what I mean? I probably love her more than I ever have, and I appreciate everything that she's done for me. She's gave up a lot in her life to be for Florida to Wishy, and people always say to her, "Why are you here?" And I go, "Look at me, I'm a stud." Then I look at you and I'm like, "Nah, I'm no stud."
Fucking rubbish. I seen a video of yours too, right? And it was one of the nicest videos I've seen, not something I see often. She's giving you a hug,
hmm
right? And she's gripped onto you, just loving it, and you're singing to her.
Oh,
That was phenomenal. That
that
was
was the
like,
one.
is that what your relationship's like?
Like very much so. I've been in relationships before, but just with her, I just genuinely knew that she was the one. You know what I mean? People go, "Oh, you're crazy. You're so young. You need to wait." And I'm like, I don't. Like we knew,
Mhm.
we went through the long distance, and we knew if we could do that, we could kind of just do just about anything. And
Mhm.
I like she just appreciates me, and she just none of this singer or whatever bothers her, and she just says I'll get the best voice ever. And she actually makes me believe in myself. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
There's times when I'm very, very doubtful, and I study singers and watch a lot of them. And
Mhm.
she goes, "You're like we're watching American Idol now, and there's people that are good on it." And she goes, "You're better than them." I'm going, "You're only saying that," but I like even before I met her, I never really sang to people like girls in relationships, whereas her, like, it's just different, and just holding her and just singing to her, like, you can feel that she appreciates it, do you know what I mean?
Class.
When we don't post that up, like, I remember when we were doing long distance, we were actually sitting at the Asdan Motherwell, and it was that Nathan Sykes song over and over again. Don't ever think I need more. Da-da-da. So I started singing it to her, right, and I was just holding her hand, and she started filming me, and she put it on Twitter the next day, and within 3 days it had 500,000 views.
My God.
But see, the amount of stick I got for that was shocking. The amount of stick that I got for that video was so bad that it got to the point where I actually deleted it, and
Really?
I regret it. I'm like, why did I let people's opinion go on?
Hey, fuck them, man.
Cringy, fucking gay boy,
Get it
fucking
back up.
Ben, fucking this and that, and I was so annoyed. I was like, maybe it is a wee bit cringy and a wee bit cheesy, but it's like, is that not what every girl wants? Like a guy serenading them, or
Yeah,
do you know
of
what I
course.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so she put it up on her Twitter. Like, she's only got like, I don't know, 1,000 followers or something, but it managed to catch a lot of traction. Obviously, a lot of dafties for this area have been like, oh
You're
my
always
god.
going to have it. Twitter is an
And it
absolute
didn't, by the way,
cesspit.
and I've been off of Twitter for a long, long time, and my management just managed to get my account back there, and it's so toxic.
It's a
It's
cesspit, isn't it?
so toxic. I
It's literally
hate
just
Twitter.
middle-aged men just
I
downing
hate
people
it.
and
I hate
arguing
it. And it was, see the hate on that video. It was like just getting called like bent, like
yeah.
what you bent for, like
Even
just
if you wear it when it fucking matters.
I
Like,
do
get off
like
my fucking
I like,
off my video.
and I knew it was a bit cringy, but she posted it on her page, not looking for likes or whatever. She just posted it just because she enjoyed it. She didn't think it would catch attraction that it caught, and I wasn't bothered about the hate. I couldn't give a fucking monkey's fuck what they thought, because I've never once had it where people come up and they'll write something online and they'll never come up and say it in your face. And there's people that I know that write hate about me or have wrote it before, and I see them at the gym or I see them in Tesco's and they don't look the road you're on.
What about that? Hi, Nicky.
Aye, or how you doing, whatever. Like, they're all keyboard gangsters. Didn't bother me, but it did bother her, and it really affected her. She deals with mental health and whatever, and anxiety and whatever, and it really got to her, and she ended up deleting it. And I was like,
How do you deal with a big thing we talk about on the podcast? How do you deal with a partner suffering? Do you suffer yourself?
no,
quite
touch
balanced?
wood. I'm
Brilliant.
very
Brilliant.
grateful that I don't. Very grateful that I don't.
How do you, obviously without touching on Brandy's mental health, how do you deal with being married to someone who does suffer? This is a huge thing. I get emails every single day of people saying, my boyfriend or my girlfriend is really suffering with their mental health. Kenny, how do I help them?
What one thing that I done, same again, going back to Twitter, was when we first met, I pulled up on Google. This is going to sound cringy, but same again, that's how we get roasted for it on Twitter. Was I was pulling up how to deal with somebody that had mental health, and she seen it in my search history, and she tweeted it saying, you know, when you've got a winner when, or no along these lines, don't quote me on it, but it was like kind of along the lines of, in fact, let me pull it up because it was really refreshing. Basically, all she seen that I pulled it up in my Twitter, up in my Google search, and she was like, "Oh, he's a keeper." My ex used to call me crazy and tell me my anxiety was all made up in my head. My boyfriend now just told me he's been researching ways to help me cope, so he can help me when I need him most. Please don't settle. And that get 11,000 retweets and 70,000 likes.
Tear to me, aye, man.
So I was trying to find out how, because I've never really dealt with anybody that has it. And before we even met with her, like, hers was like through the roof, like really, really bad. You probably don't want me to talk about it, but she was like, she like, like, I've made her step out her comfort zone. Like, she didn't even want to do half the things now that I've met her, and that's how I'm so grateful for her. That
Yep.
she wouldn't have gotten a fucking, see, 5 years ago, she would have not stepped in a flight for 9 hours all by herself. Do you know what I mean? And she wouldn't have moved to the. If somebody told her 5 years ago you're going to move to the other side of the world, she'd have called them fucking bananas. Do you know what I mean? So I just Google and try, and I don't know. There'll just be days where she just feels sad, I don't get. I used to get frustrated, and even sometimes I do. But I'm just like, what you sad about? Oh, I don't know. I'm just sad. It could be anything. It could be the weather. Because she's just so used to being from Florida. I know it sounds ridiculous and a wee bit spoiled, but so used to having the great weather. Now you come here and it's pissing down the rain.
Seasonal affective disorder is a huge thing.
So I don't know. I just told her and just talked to her and just tell her that she's gonna be all right and try and like do something. Like even the other day, she was having a bad day. The weather was shit, and she just was crying, and I just took her bowling at M&D's, and it took her mind off it. And she made dinner, and we sat down and had dinner, and she went, thank you for the day." And she went, "You actually made me happy and made me take my mind off it for a minute." Do you know what I mean?
Class.
And then having that and me just trying to deal with her is it's my job. Do you know what I mean? I just want to feel safe and feel settled here, because she's left. She no that she doesn't have anyone here. She's got me, my family. She's now met her own friends, but all her own family are all back in Florida. Do you know what I mean? And she can pick up the phone and call her mum and sisters, which she does every single day. And I love them, and I'm very grateful for them for all their love and support that they've showed us throughout the years. But I'm her main rock here, and I need to be with her. And if it means that I just need to hold her and sometimes sing to her, or just tell her that she's going to be fine and that there's nothing to worry about, and try and distract them for the day, then if that's the least I can do.
Mate,
Do you know what I mean? It's the least I can do.
No, that's massive.
She's an angel. She is. I love her.
From my experience as well.
But then, how do you deal with what do you tell people? Like, I want tips. Like, but everybody's different as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely what, like, I don't want to go into it too much. Obviously, I don't want to speak about Brandy's mental health. But like, that's all you want is what you there. You want someone to care enough to look up, how do I deal with it? Not how do I solve their problems, feel better, or do this. Like, why don't you just do meditation and feel better, better, this, that. You want someone to just read it up and then just harness it.
Educate yourself on it. Yeah.
Educate themselves and then come at you from that angle, that non-pushy angle of, right, I don't understand what you're going through because I'm not living it, but
it can get frustrating.
I've educated myself, and I can come at you with this angle of, here's what I can give you to help you through your journey. You know, just like a bit of support. Once you have someone that does that, basically what you're doing, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. That's all you want in a partner, honestly.
And see, I never knew, and I think the most frustrating thing for me is that I don't understand it, and I'm very thankful that I don't go through it, but it's just frustrating because I'm like, why, how, like, what can I do? Am I doing enough? Do you know what I mean? It sometimes gets me thinking, am I doing enough? And I'm like, I just need to be there for her, and that's it. And she tells me, I go, what you tell me, like, how can I help? You just need to be there, and that's it.
It's 100% her, you know, and she'll know that. It's 100% my problem, my mental health. But sometimes when you're at 60% functioning, your partner can bring that other 40 to the table. You know, and help you. So, but we know it's me. It's me that deals with it. It's me that does my meditation, my working out, my deep breathing. I need to keep thinking positively. I'm in control of this. Sometimes, but your partner, your friend, or family, or best pal, or work colleague can sometimes bring you that other 40 in the days you need it, and it sounds like you do that, bro. Which fucking hats off.
But no, she's in. I like she used to be really bad with it, but now she's like now she's got it controlled. But she'll
moving away.
Mate, I know.
Mate, that's massive.
I know.
Leaving your family and all that.
Mate,
that's massive.
Not even that, and she's got her own dog over there, and she absolutely, I know it's only a dog, but it was her whole world, and took her a lot to be here. Do you know what I mean? And the least that I can do is be there for her and support her and tell her that everything's going to be fine, and I'll be there for her no matter what. She's amazing. I love her.
Love it, man.
And she's a good cook.
Is she a good cook?
Aye.
Who does the cooking, you or her?
Oh no, I do the dishes. She does the cooking. Only since
do you actually do the dishes?
Oh mate, I don't love them, but
professional dish cleaner now.
They get stacked up for 3 days.
Do you mean you put them in the dishwasher, or?
No, I've not got a dishwasher.
Because I remember my mate used to always say, do the dishes and everything, man. Put them in the dish. And then we were there and he was over with his bird one time and blah blah blah. I was like, does he do the dishes? He goes,
puts them in the dishwasher.
You mean you do the dishes, you dick? He says you put them in the dishwasher.
That doesn't count. No, I'm standing with the wee thing. You put the soap in, it's got the wee sponge.
Yeah.
I love them.
Right in about it and all that.
Aye. I get them on the Tesco club card with the deal. It's actually alright.
Therapeutic.
But I can't cook. Like the other day there, she went somewhere, she was out with her pals, because when her pals graduated, and I was texting her how, like, I just cook chicken because I'm on a diet, and I'm trying to lose 2 stone in 2 months. And I was texting her, like, what can I make and all that. And
I'm a personal trainer, get through to me.
Mate, I would love to. If I never had her, I would be, I don't know. She keeps me saying, and I keep her saying.
Love it. Well, you do a lot. It sounds
we
like
do. We balance each other very, very well.
Balance. So that before we finish, I'm just going to. There's a couple of things I missed because we were having a good time. from now on, what is next for Nicky? What's the plans?
What's
What's
the plan?
next? What are you going to give us next? What's happening?
So for this year, we're going to get back in the studio and get some singles released for this year,
Good.
and then hopefully get a tour. I don't know if a tour will be this year, but it'll definitely be next year and shows and whatever. But my main focus is just to get music out because I've not had music out for a long time because just been distracted by other things and I've got a loyal, I wouldn't say, I don't say fans, I hate saying the word fans, but support, a loyal support out there that want to hear music, do you know what I mean? Then I feel like they deserve it, so that's my main focus and
You've got a
priority.
lot to sing about now.
I do, which is so true. My wife's like, when are you going to write a song about me? I'm like, hey, give me a minute. But no, like,
It's no came to me yet.
whereas now, songs I wrote before, but we daft relationships and whatever, but now I'm married and I know what love really feels like and I know that what it's like to have that partner and there's so many like songs I can relate to now, like I can relate to that, do you know what I mean? So most of my songs are just gonna be about my wife and my life. Now I've got things to speak about, do you know what I mean?
The dog, the fucking long distance, the
Aye,
cruise ship,
aye,
fucking
aye, aye.
the
The long
nights
distance,
greeting into your pillow, man. Like,
mate,
oh,
genuinely was, genuinely
I
was.
wish I was there. Fucking, honey, I'll wake
Horrible.
up, I've video called you 15 times, man.
My phone's gonna run out of credit. Talk up before it
Long
show.
distance is horrible, bro. I've done long distance, but only like fucking few, only about 50
Aye, few
miles.
streets.
Only like Edinburgh. I'm like, how long do you go?
Aye, long distance to Edinburgh.
Fucking-
Babe, I'll be there in 45
Mate,
minutes. Babe, I'll be
when
there
the
in 8 hour
traffic's
flat.
bad, when the traffic's bad,
Oh, you're a good two.
Edinburgh's long distance.
You're good 2 hours, aye.
But I can imagine. Have I done long distance more than that? No, I don't know. So what advice let's advice for someone, because obviously there's another route to go now.
Yeah.
X Factor and all these shows now. There's the independent route, which you're on the now.
Yep.
Paying for your own stuff, doing stuff on TikTok. Littlest Chicken Jared was on recently, so he was great boy. There's another route to go down now. If you were supposed back and they said X Factor or go and make it on, you're 16 now on TikTok, you would blow up. You would have millions of followers, let's be honest. If you hit TikTok and lockdown, you're 16. Are you going on X Factor or are you?
I would stick to X Factor.
Would you?
Only because, see, even as well, see now, with X Factor, it was peak X Factor when I was on, it was peak
Yeah, it
X Factor. But Instagram was nothing at the time. So for me to walk out there with a couple of 100,000 followers was great. Now, if it was peak X Factor still, with the way social media is now, you'd walk out with what the Love Island numbers are working out with. I just feel like X Factor put me in such a platform and put me out there that much that I just feel like TikTok is quick and then you forgot about. X Factor is like that, but because they put you on such a pedestal, you're remembered for longer rather than TikTok. Because TikTok, it's new every day. X Factor, it's new every year. But you've got X Factor, you've got The Voice, and you've got Britain's Got Talent all running all at the same time, all singing, acting, talent competitions. But I'd still do X Factor because the experience and the people I met was just absolutely
class. My last question
madness.
is, what advice would you give a young musician growing up in Glasgow or Scotland, Britain, whatever?
What advice
would you give a young 14, 15, 16-year-old who's got it all to do?
I think definitely believe in yourself, because when I first started out, even like in the school choir, I didn't know what to do and I was basically forced to do it, but I was getting called choir boy, and bullying does happen and it does exist. Because you sing and you don't play football, because I think a lot of people grow up thinking I need to be a footballer, I need to be this, I need to be that. You get stick because you're doing something ordinary and you're doing something that's probably not normal for somebody to do. Do you know what I mean? So definitely believe in yourself. And when you think you're not worth it, you definitely are. Build your social media, do you know what I mean? Get yourself out there, get your couple of pound in your pocket, get yourself some gigs and just build up your clientele, do you know what I mean? And offer something different. And if you've got a unique voice, look for management or independent labels or whatever who'd maybe be interested in just signing you just for one song, and then, do you know what I mean, pushing it to radio stations, whatever. Doing it independently is a lot harder, but there is help and support out there. But my main thing, and I think I'd tell people, is just believe in yourself. Because I know it's hard. Because people tell you, you're shite, you're not good enough. But if you believe in yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else will. Do you know what I mean?
Guys, it's been a pleasure. We need to
Thank you for having me.
Now we're very, very, very busy men. And the producer, very busy as well. So we need to go. I'm going back to work actually, man.
Oh no.
Oh, bro. So is Greg. What you doing? What you up to?
I'm going to go and get my lunch, then go to the gym.
What you getting for lunch?
I don't know. The wife cooks it. I just turn up.
I'll be expecting to see you at my gym for a PT session in the next month or two. We'll have a great laugh, man. What a laugh. Guys, it's been a pleasure catching up with you guys and with Nikki. I wish you all the best. It's been some journey
Thank you,
so
mate.
far, and
Appreciate
I think I've got a feeling it's just going to be a phenomenal year for you. And
I hope it is.
I really hope it is. And then we'll be getting the pitter patter of the wee Waynes.
No, why you keep saying Wayne?
Wee Nicky
The
one.
dog's enough. The dog's enough.
Nicky 1 and Nicky 2.
Thing 1 and thing 2.
I think aye. So
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
It's been fantastic, guys. Listen, we'll be back next week with Kevin Thompson, Knights Rangers and Hibs star. Lots to talk about then, but no, I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed
Appreciate
getting
it.
back
Thanks,
into
mate.
it. Guys, any questions you want to hit Nicky with, I want you to follow him on his platforms as well. What platforms are you on now, Nicky? Is it just Nicky McDonald?
Yeah.
Or is it Nicky McDonald like 16, 2K?
Oh, no. Instagram links Nicky McDonald 11, TikTok Nicky McDonald Music, Facebook Nicholas McDonald.
Right, just type in Nicky McDonald.
Just type in Nick.
Hope to get search for the blue tick.
Aye.
And guys, don't forget to subscribe. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Appreciate it.